coaches are powerful. All it could take is a great comment when you're younger to start a spark
that will drive you the rest of your life. I'd like to welcome you here, Bill Gusmano. Today we're going to be talking about it. You felt like when you got hurt playing football, you didn't have the support system around you that was like, hey, we want you to get better, as much as it was like, okay, like, what are you going to do? So we need to make some decisions. So
Right. My football career, obviously way different than a professional path, right? No, but it was still competitive, right?
Yeah.
So once you start getting into that competitive environment, I think the culture of that team, however it gets set, will trickle down, and you'll see that in the environment. And that's probably why it's so important during the recruiting process to really like where you go.
Absolutely.
And I made decisions not based upon those personalities. I thought I was probably better than I was, so I was getting courted. Yeah, right. But I was getting courted by better teams, and then I sort of settled for this team.
But why'd you settle, though?
My father told me to.
That's it. Dad said so.
Dad pretty much said so. I think the way my dad put it was, you can go there, but then you're obligated to these people.
Yeah, and that's if you accepted the full scholarship from, okay.
Yeah, there's a few like Villanova and William and Mary.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like, hey, we don't want to be beholden. So if you go to state school, I could pay. You owe it to anybody. You still play football. You'll start freshman year.
Yeah.
So go have a good time. So it was attractive from that part where you know you're going to play.
Yeah.
It's not really a question. And then I got hurt once, shattered my left hand.
So what position did you play? Now, you can't skip over all this now. That's a good part now, because nobody's going to believe it. I want to see if they believe it.
Free safety. Used to be real thin and skinny and fast. None of that now. But free safety. And in high school, played both ways, receiver and QB. And then on the corner to a free safety. Played all special teams. High school, just stayed on the field.
Yeah. That's like most guys when they're getting heavily recruited out of high school. It doesn't matter whether it's D1, 2, or 3. Like, you're always on the field. Yeah. Special teams, offense, defense. Hey, Bill, where are you? Get in there. Let's go.
Totally. It was fun. And then college was a little bit like that for me. It was just a quick extension. And then got hurt, which freaked me out. And the coaches were like, drop your credits, red shirt. Freshman year will be fine. You do 4.5 years. They put me on like a program right away, which turned into a party program for me. You know what I mean?
So what'd you hurt?
Index finger and part of my hand blew up on a helmet. It just blew up the knuckle. They put 2 pins in because they were going to put 12 or something in. But it was so shattered, they just mushed it all together and put 2 pins and held it. So it's kind of that now.
Okay. So were you worried when you got hurt then? Were you like, oh, man, this could be it? Or were you just like?
No. It was more annoying, right? It's your index finger.
Yeah.
I remember the trainer on the sideline, like, pulling on it, thinking
it
it
was
was dislocated.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and it was all bent and crooked. It was, that's old school right there, right?
Yeah, very old school.
For me, it was like, it was still preseason, so even though I knew I was starting, freshman starting, you got to prove yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wanted to get back on the field. Yeah. I was like, tape it up, move something around.
Do what I got to do,
Yeah, like I just want to play, because if I don't get my reps in, I'm not starting first game, right? So that was the biggest thing, the big worry for me. It was not that big. Surgery, recovery, hand, no big deal. But I played sophomore year and then my junior year. Sophomore year, I had a great year. Dropped pretty decent 440, no B's. 4.4.
I got to see some video of that. We talk about it all the time, but I got to see some video of 4.4.
There's going to be no video. That's Super 8 film back in the old day.
The reels.
The reel. That type of stuff. Maybe there's a video. I don't know. But, then I got a cut block, second to last game against Ithaca, and I was running sideways. He did a flying cross body, like hit my ankles, tore all the ligaments in both ankles all at once. Like I crawled off the field in pain. Remember, like people talk about bedside manner? I'm on a cart in the training room, and they got my feet up on like blocks and ice on my ankles, obviously. The doc comes by. No kid, the game's over. Doc comes by, takes the ice packs off my ankles and goes, like
Oh,
that.
that's bad when a doctor
when
does that because you think they've seen everything, so that wouldn't shock them.
Yeah, like what did you just see that made you go, oh, and look away? You
So
know,
you hadn't even seen it at this point. You don't
no.
even know.
I had stuff wrapped on it up, like nothing. I couldn't see it, and then I saw it with him, and it was just like huge ankles. And then I couldn't do anything but be in a wheelchair because they started with crutches, but it was both ankles.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do anything. So I'm in a wheelchair, dude. That was awful. Yeah. So coming back from that took a lot. So that's where I was talking to you about support systems. It was just not that culture. That's what was too bad. Like I had some great friends that were players that reached out and were worried about me and all that type of stuff, but never really a coach from an encouraging standpoint. They were calling me and evaluating me, check on me because they wanted to know, like, what should we expect? Are you come back full strength? Or is this going to be something we got to worry about? Which is fair, right? They all had jobs.
Yeah.
They were trying to figure out how to make us better, which I think at the time we were the winningest, most Division III in the nation, whatever that.
But they're looking for can they sustain this? Like
Right.
You're our guy. You had a great year last year. You know, we have all these expectations, and then all of a sudden life happens. You blow out both ankles.
Yeah.
Now we need to know, like, do we still invest in you? Do we partially invest in you?
Right.
Or do we move on?
Right. It's a serious enough injury
Yeah.
where they wouldn't be surprised if I just couldn't come back. Right. Like all the ligaments, it was a 10-month rehab. You know what I mean? Like, because there's nothing they can do. It's not like surgery, put stuff. It's just wait for that stuff to heal, and then it's about flexibility. After it heals, flexibility, exercise. My vertical, I lost like 3.5 inches off my vertical. That's a lot, right? For a DB.
Huge.
You know, I'm trying for every inch I can get there. They had that job to do, but they still, I felt, could have reached out to a young kid that's now sitting there going through that type of thing where my parents supported me to play, but they weren't encouraging me to play. And my father would have been very happy with me not playing and focusing more on academics, which I struggle with in college.
I think we all did at some point, just because you get there and you think you know it all. But, you know, you're talking about not having that encouragement like that to me, because obviously there's a little bit of an age difference. So when I did get hurt, whether it was high school, pro, I always felt like I could come back. Like I always had the mindset that I'm coming back. Like when you got both ankles dislocated and ligaments torn, like when did it cross your mind that this could be it? Did somebody tell you when you got hurt? Was it later on down the road?
I think, you know, when it came to me, it was PT. Like when you're 20 years old, every injury you've had, you've probably recovered from.
Yeah,
probably,
absolutely.
most likely, at least for me, for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, this is more serious, but of course,
I'm gonna be okay. Yeah.
I'll be okay. Yeah. When I was doing PT and it hurt so bad, you had to do the alphabet on this paddle,
like a flexion board,
and then jam it into an ice bath, right, and try and maintain the swelling, and then go walk around and be normal. And then every time you do, my ankles would bleed and swell because all those ligaments are still healing, but you got to keep them stretched and keep all that. It was too overwhelming for me. Be honest with you. It started to be like, that's what I knew. I was like, I got to make a choice here, because it's sort of like you got to go all in and I got to fix it, right? Because it's not just injury. Give it time, it heals, so it stops hurting. Not as much, right? This is like I got to make these things back. I got to build it back. That's when I lost it. That's when the evaluation of, hey, are you going to be all right? Like. Well, I don't know. Does anybody care? Right? You're like, maybe not.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. Right? They don't. That realization was tough for me. It was like, because you're already in that self-doubt phase, and now someone is like, might happen to you. I just need to know sooner or later, dude. So
like, what's going on? Are you going to be able to come back full strength? And then you were saying how this was a different coaching staff at this point too.
Right.
So now you've got one or two holdovers, but now you have a whole new staff that has a whole new mindset of what they're looking for. And here you are. You were a starter last year, had this great year, had this season-ending, maybe even career-ending injury, and now they're like poking on you, like, okay, what works, what doesn't work?
Totally. The thing that was amazing, or I think the tough part of the lower divisions, is consistency. So I was saying those coaches turned over every 2 to 3 years because most of them were doing it to get their master's in whatever concentration so they could go move on. Or it's a beginning, D3, they want to go big time and
D2,
make some money too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they're changing over. We're a stepping stone school, but that turns over, right? But how do the players deal with that? If I got the right cycle, it would be great. I'd be the new guy coming in, right? Have my coach, and before he graduates 2.5, 3 years, I'm out. I'm already senior, and I played all my 4 years with my boy. If you get in that middle cycle like I was, he did recruit me. He didn't coach me. He was a corner, not a free safety. So corners are a unique breed. And he was sort of like, what am I going to do with you, free safety? You're part linebacker, part corner, but not that fast. You're big and
like, what do we do with you?
What do we do?
You're not part of our plan.
He didn't buy into free safety. He wanted strong corners.
It's just like we talked about it, and it keeps coming up with Deuce is the whole my guy. That's my guy. And that means so much when you can come in with a coach like you're talking about. Deuce came in the very beginning at U of A with that coaching staff. Those were his coaches. You're our guy. We recruited you. So then when they moved on, they wanted him to move on with them. So it's something to be said when a coach says to you, hey, you're my guy, because you're going to get those extra looks. You're going to get the benefit of the doubt, where here you are coming off an injury that could be career-ending. It's like, hey, man, do you really want to come back?
Right.
And they were talking. They
know it's D3 too.
Yeah, and it's D3. It's like, we got guys coming in. We're trying to move on. We're only here for a short period of time. So we've got to make decisions right now. But you were saying that only the trainer was really kind of talking to you, and we even talked about how this was on you, like just mentally, like having to go through this 18, 19 years old. You were saying how your father had just had a stroke. You're going through 2 ankles dislocated. Like, how did that affect you?
Dude, I think it was so stressful. But, I'm thinking about it as you're hearing that story back. It's D3, dude. Like, D3 people play because they love the game. You're playing D3, and why are you there? Like, it's a valid decision going into your senior year. Do I want to do it? Because it's like a step above club ball. Maybe it's better than that. We were transition 1AA, but you got to make those life decisions as a big boy about, which are going to get made for you anyway when you're a senior. That decision is made. Time's
it's made
up.
For you. It's time to go, brother.
Right.
Sorry you're hurt, but it's time for the next entourage to come through here.
Totally. So maybe if it happens 48 months or 24 months or 12 months sooner, okay. So I do get maybe somebody expect it. Well, you should have been prepared for that anyway. But it is, because you were asking me, was there ever that injury? Is that when I knew? When did I know or fear it was over? It was when we started the conversation. And I think that's the only time. You need something dramatic. If you're playing at a competitive level for that many years, it becomes part of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to someone say that part of who you are is no more. At 19, 20 years old. You got to figure it out.
And we were talking about that, and you were saying that you would have loved to have been able to talk to somebody. I don't think I would have. I don't think that I would have been mature enough in who I am to say, I want to talk to somebody. I need to sit across from someone and tell them how much this is hurting me, because I would have kept that to myself. Like, I would have felt weak telling somebody that.
I already felt weak, right? Because I'm not overcoming the injury. So I'm already questioning myself in my sort of drive, right? When you're playing competitively, whatever level it is, your coaches are trying to get the most out of you at all times. So if you're failing, am I doing enough, right? First thing you think is
self-doubt.
Yeah, and it's probably true. I probably wasn't going to therapy enough. I wasn't working it as hard as I could have. And the trainer said, hey, there's nobody else. It's on you.
Right.
I learned that D3 too. I remember when I hurt my hand. I forgot this story. I missed one of my classes because I had surgery.
Right.
And I went to him prior saying, hey, I'm going to be out next Friday. I have surgery on my hand. Right. So I might miss class 1 or 2 weeks. Could we just talk about the syllabus of what's going on? And he's like, why are you coming to me? He's like, there's 30 people in this class. Ask one of your peers.
Oh, wow.
And for me, I thought I'd have a connection with the professor because I got injured playing football. We were this football team. We had a stadium.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be support. And he was just like, you choose to play D3 football. Sorry you got injured, dude, but this is academics is what it is. That's on you. It was the same attitude with the coaching staff, with the training staff, because you're choosing to be here. So it's on you. You can quit at any time. Yeah. And maybe they had to deal with that. Maybe they had to deal with people that would quit on them at any time because it's probably a wise decision, maybe. Right?
Yeah, I mean, because you're like you're saying, you're paying for a lot of your own stuff. Yeah. So it's like, dude, if you want to waste your money, then that's on you.
Right, on you, dude.
So when you came back from the injury, how were you when you came back from that injury?
Dude, I was freaked out. I think because I had to be in a wheelchair at times.
Really? Even after you were supposed to have been through all your rehab, it's been 10, 11 months, you're still having to
Not that far.
Okay.
But the first 2 months, easy. Like wheelchair, crutches. Wheelchair and crutches hurt, right? Like, so really humiliating to yourself. It's just degrading for me. Like, it was having to be frustrating to be that confined.
Yeah.
Wow. Wheelchair, man.
Yeah, no, I've never been. Thing. Yeah, I've never been in a wheelchair. But when I tore my Achilles, and just going through what I went through with both of those, it was times where I was just like, man, you got to go to the bathroom. You got to get yourself up. You got to get to your crutches. It's like a process. And now this is me after I'm done playing football. Right. So I couldn't imagine being in my prime, 20, 21 years old, and you have to get into a wheelchair. You have to scoot yourself to the bathroom. You have to go through. Like, I'm sure there were times where things happen and you're looking at yourself like,
what am I doing?
What the hell? What's going on with me right now? And so look, now you did tell a really good story to that. When you knew that you were like, you know what, this is over.
Yeah, so it was a preseason with the new assistant coach is now the coach. I'm not his guy.
Yeah.
He never even asked me checking in on me. He knew, right? Like everybody else was checking in on me, like a little bit, like how you doing, evaluating, like the D coordinator, head coach, basically. Mm-hmm. My position coach never even reached out to me. Yeah, so
you writings on the wall at that point. Yeah.
So I'm sitting there doing preseason drills, stretch. Then you do your position stuff in the morning. It's lightweight. It's not a lot, but I'm working on ankles for the first time. Right. Mm-hmm. I do this and they bleed, and I got to ice them still. Right. Yeah. All that stuff, and I'm a step slow. This kid's beating me. I mean, I'll be honest. If you're evaluating right there, no way. It's going to take me all preseason to gain, if I even come back. So I was getting beat. And I'm in that position drill, and I'm just like, nope. It's his spot. It's his coach. It's his spot. And I don't want to play. I don't have the drive to be second or third string. I'm not going to work my ass off and not play.
Yeah.
The whole reason why I was there and I went D3 was to play.
Because I want to play, yeah.
So I just walked on the water break. You go over to where the water's at, the table, and I just kept walking. Never walked back.
So just kind of taking your stuff off as you walk. Just a trail.
Yep.
Man, that's got to be hard because I know for me when I knew it was over, this is, after professional, played for 9 years. Yeah. I'm out training and I'm getting ready for the upcoming season. I'm a free agent and I'm going through drills and I'm doing exercises. And it's that constant like, man, this is.
Yeah, that hurts.
I don't know, man. My legs. And then I get around some of the younger competition and you start seeing these young fellas and you're watching them move and you're like, damn, am I that old now? Wow. Have I, like you said, I've lost a step.
Yeah.
And when you lose that step, and these kids are always going,
of course,
it's like to admit, it's over.
Yeah, you got to. It was hard, dude.
Man, that's got to be, especially when you're young like that.
I went straight to a bar. I'm not telling a lie.
So you left. So you just walked off practice. Nobody said anything. Like nobody was. You just take your stuff off, hung it up in the closet.
It was the position coach who wanted that to happen. He knew exactly what happened, even if it was just for a day. Like he knew I was either too injured and I'm going into the training room or I'm gone.
So either way, he was happy. Well, I ain't gonna say happy, but he got what he wanted.
Yeah, what he needed.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he got what he needed to be like, okay, I don't have to be the jerk and
he
cut
didn't
you.
have to go through preseason hoping I'm going to get better, not giving his boy time.
Yeah,
Sorry, you're out.
yeah.
It's just the way it is, right?
It is. It's easy to talk about it. I mean, I hear you talking about it, but as I'm sitting here, I want to argue with you, like, no, you got to fight till the end.
Well,
but
that's what I'm talking about support. If I had one coach during those 10, 11 months going, dude, you better step it up. You can start. You can still get through this.
Right.
Like, just saying that, like, otherwise you're going to get your ass kicked, dude. Come on, let's do this. Let's do this. You got 2 more years in you, 1 more year in you, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If I heard that, I mean, I'm a football player, dude. I'm an athlete. I like to be coached.
Yeah.
I need to be coached.
I need that. I need that extra drive because you get to a point to where you've pushed yourself and you think this is all I got, and then there's always that little bit more that somebody's just like, no, you got a little bit more. But I don't know, Bill.
Just being honest, right? Yeah. Like that's what I said. I don't know if I would have gone and seen a mental health specialist or something.
Yeah.
To admit that when I'm down about it already.
Yeah.
But a coach. I mean, they're the best, dude. Like we talk about it. All it can take is a great comment when you're younger to start a spark that's the rest of your life.
That will drive you the rest of your life. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, coaches are powerful. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm disappointed that I didn't have that relationship, and that's on me too with my coaches that I could have had to get that support. Support may have changed it. Maybe I would have played another year.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think that you physically, you know yourself.
That's true too.
And, when you can watch yourself and you see, damn, I'm a step slow. I can't come out of this break like I used to. Plays that you used to make now, you can't make those anymore. Like, that's a lot to have to deal with. But I guess it's still, you have your coach there. You have somebody that you can go to and say, man, I'm dogging it out there. Like, I'm trying my hardest. What are you seeing?
Right.
Well, yeah, Davis, you're not moving like you used to, but we still have time. You can still rehab. Right. Maybe that would have helped, but I think still your body was letting you know, hey, buddy, this may be it for you.
That is true. That is probably true. And then I was saying it's such a big piece of your life.
Yeah.
You got to fill that void somehow. Everyone has to because there's a void. There's just even of time.
Yeah.
I remember I think you and I were talking about in high school, like between sports, you'd have like 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what do all you people do?
What do y'all do with all your spare time
right.
like this? Like, you'd be waiting in between, depending on how far you went in football. If you made the playoffs,
right.
You were playing while basketball was going on. But if you got that break, it was like, what the hell do normal people do with their time all day?
Like seriously, what do you do with all this time? It was always amazing to me. So you're going to have a physical void as well as an emotional void when that gets taken away. Because for years and years and years, this took up a lot of your time.
Took up a big majority of your time.
The way you think, your persona,
everything.
A lot of things, right?
Everything that you do is based around your sport, especially if you want to go to the next level, whatever that is. And so it's like, okay, I can't be at this party very long because I got practice tomorrow, or I don't want to get in trouble over here. Everything that you do is wrapped around your sport, and I don't want to do anything to mess that up. Totally. So it is funny because even now, like, when I got done playing football, there was that void of like, man, this was hours and hours of my time and days upon days. It's like, what do I do now? So that's when I went through the whole coaching, and that for me filled that void. Like, coaching.
Yeah, you get to make a mini me.
Yeah, you get a little mini me. Yeah, you get them out there. You're like, come on, it's like playing a live video game.
Right.
Like, you go through all week and you tell the kids, you take these young men, like, this is what we need to do. Here's how you do it. And then when game day comes, like, I think I was more excited and probably more scared than they were because it's like, okay, are they going to remember everything? Did I cover everything? Did I do everything I was supposed to do?
See, that's a great transition, dude.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I didn't have that transition. Well, I guess I did. I just got more into academics.
Yeah.
Like, what's gonna drive me or be my persona? Sort of. Right.
So now you got to reinvent yourself almost.
You do. I think you do. Or because you got to refocus all that time and energy on something.
Yeah.
It could be productive or not productive, and I think that happens with guys who are young and make some money.
Yeah.
And then, like, you got all this void of time, dude.
Yeah.
Idle time's never good time.
It's not.
That's what my mom said, raising 5 boys. She was like, The reason why you guys played sports was I had to keep you busy.
Yeah, keep you out of trouble.
Yeah, keep you out of trouble.
I think a lot of kids get started, especially for boys, because you're so rambunctious and you're running all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like sports are always looked at as, okay, let me just get him in here to burn off some energy.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, wow, this really might be the thing for him.
Right, yeah.
And so, football was like your whole life. Sports is always it's everything you do. You coming home from school, doing homework in the car.
Yeah. Dude, football was my least favorite growing up. You know why? You're
a baseball guy, I know.
No, but here's why. I had to put on the girdle, a cup, all the pants with all the pads. Getting dressed for football when you're like 7 is misery, dude. You feel like you're getting dressed up in that snowsuit.
When you can't move, yeah.
And stuff. I hate all the girdle and pants stretching all over, helmet, and mouthpiece. Oh, God. Baseball is so much easier. Glove, bat, hat, done. Playing my jeans, playing whatever you're wearing. Who cares?
I don't ever have those. For me, everything about football was just great memories because I loved it. Like, I don't ever remember being there a time where I'm like, I don't want to play
You liked
football.
wearing the girdle? Is that what you liked?
I liked it all. I liked all of it. Give me everything, man. I never felt like, I don't know if I want to go do something else. Like, I was miserable when I had to go play other sports. Like, if I wasn't playing football, and I had to go play basketball. It was too soft, fouls. And, I barely bumped into him. And it's like, no, you took him out pretty good. And then you go to track, and there's, like, shot put. And it's like, you're around your guys, but it's just not that love. It's not that desire. It's very different. So when I hear people, and I have them on here, and they talk about, well, football wasn't my first love. I'm like, I think football's my only love. Like, I would play football until I'm one of those people you would have to drag me off the field. Like, I broke my ankle in a game, but it never crossed my mind that this is over. Like, it's over. Like,
You're always going to come back.
No, I'm going to come back. I'm going to do all my rehab. I'm going to do everything I have to do to make sure I come back. Then I got a bicep tendon tear. That was probably the most serious injury I had. But once again, it never crossed my mind that this may be it for me.
But you also have a great support team. Like, your wife is incredibly supportive, right? That helps, like, in your close family and friends, not just your coaches, but Russell, be honest, in the sport, there's so many people around the sport, and I know you're a humble man, but there's a lot of people love you, dude, because you're a good guy, but you played the right way. Like you said, you were committed, loved it, went after the sport, gave it everything you had, and I think you had that support mechanism well-deserved. It's great to be able to be supported that way and be
absolutely.
No one's ever telling you it's over.
No.
Because they just believe in you, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Thanks for tuning in to The Route. Don't forget to subscribe and connect with us on socials for exclusive updates. We'll see you next week.